giant orange records.
So hey, look at me. I've got it so good that I have not one, but two copies of the West Coast pop art experimental band's Reprise debut album,
Part 1, the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band.
That's right, two copies of
Part 1.
So what's the difference? Well, the Buddha once said comparison is the thief of happiness. Obviously, the Buddha was not a record collector. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, why do I have two copies of this album, and what are the differences?
Part 1, the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band.
So for the sake of comparison, I'm talking about a 1967 original stereo pressing on Reprise Records and a 2023 reissue in mono from Jackpot Records. The first stereo press from 1967 has a major gash in it. Who does that? How does this kind of scratch get onto an album? I mean, that takes major effort. Anyway, I was pretty young when I acquired this album back in the dark ages, when nobody cared about vinyl, and this album was as cheap as $25, which was a small fortune for me at the time. This is a top 5 album for me. It's a perfect blend of psych, jangly folk rock, minimalism mixed with complexity, and some pretty experimental bits, as the name suggests. The backstory of this band is stranger than anyone would think, but all that aside, this is a perfect album from start to finish. I'd first heard about this album on a bright, clear day sometime around 2010 or so. I'd heard one of my favorite indie bands, The Clientele, mention the song Transparent Day in an interview, and that weekend I went to a record fair in Charleston, where I lived at the time, and happened to find a copy of the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band Part 1. But that's the only time I've seen an original in the wild, and that was more than 15 years ago. They say ignorance is bliss, which means you have more fun when you don't worry about the stupid numbers and the dead wax, and just listen to the tunes, man. Back in my younger days, I simply enjoyed the music. I had a low-budget, non-hi-fi setup and just didn't know anything about how scratches or condition affected the value of this album. Anyway, the stereo copy has some pretty cool psychodiculous stereo panning between some of the guitars and vocals changing channels, and pretty standard stereo stuff like different guitars and different channels, and putting most of the drum kit on one side. The scratches used to not bother me, but when I upgraded to better stereo equipment, it really brought out the flaws even more. One of the great ironies of being a record collector is that better audiophile gear makes your records sound worse. It goes both ways. Better equipment makes your good records sound better, and your bad records sound worse. Or perhaps it's just a matter of heightened awareness. Over the years, I'd say my ears have also grown up a bit and become more finely tuned. This comes from playing in bands and recording music. So let's listen to how bad these scratches are. How would you grade this record? So that takes us to the highly coveted mono version. This is the Jackpot Records reissue from 2023. Why does 2023 sound like it was such a long time ago? Anyway, this is a glorious sounding, wildly colored copy of the mono mix, which is quite wonderful. But does it have the same depth and punch of the original? Let's listen and find out. Oh yeah, YouTube says I can't play more than like 6 seconds of a copyrighted song.
That I was born to wander
I think I need to get out of the house more. Let's go for a bike ride. You can spend way too much time worrying about your record collection, man. Sometimes it's best to give it a small break and get moving and do something fun. Of course, you can always dance to your records. Isn't that the point anyway? Or perhaps spiritual and intellectual enlightenment? For a while I was a mono purist, but I've learned to stop worrying and love the stereo because of the nice separation that can make a recording feel like the band is in the room with you. For most of the Beatles and Kinks and Stones 60s records, mono is better because that's what the band put their effort into, and mono worked well for radio and jukeboxes. But the stereo here is incredibly well done and makes my mind want to dance. There can be a certain togetherness with mono, but it can also be a hindrance. Here's Where You Belong is the only song that sounds significantly better in mono on part 1. As long as the lead vocal is kept in the center, everything will be okay. Most of side 2 sounds a little better in mono, perhaps because these songs are less experimental and more like typical rock band arrangements. But who really cares? Well, maybe because it's a difference of a few $100s on the reissue versus the original. It's not a black and white answer, so the only solution is to have both mono and stereo, if it's one of your top 5 albums. The original has slightly more overall depth to it. While an original in good shape probably costs $100 more, I'd say it does not sound $100 better than the reissue. It's maybe 1% better, which only makes a difference if your ears are super finely tuned or if you listen to it every day. But it's not an apples to apples comparison. Guess I'll need to find an original mono. Or maybe it's time to stop worrying and just enjoy the music.
Giant, orange, giant, orange, giant, orange.